Hello darlings, back again for another tutorial. And as always, firstly get your hair out of your face, especially because we are going to be working with liquid latex, and believe me, you do not want that in your hair. And speaking of said latex, for this I am using the Mehron liquid latex, and it is in the shade Flesh/Light Beige. And I'm just going to use the lovely little brush applicator included to apply it. But first I'm going to sort of map out where I want my smile to be using an angled brush with just a little bit of eyeshadow on it. Now, this isn't to necessarily mark or put any designs on. It's literally just to kind of give myself a frame/point of reference as to how big and where I want the smile to be. And now we're going to get a little speedy because this application does take a while. But I am going to apply it to the general area where I marked and apply several coats until it is the thickness that I desire. Now, keep in mind when you are applying this that you are going to be cutting into it / cutting through it, so you do not want to apply this super thinly or else it will basically just fall off of your face or you will hurt yourself in the process. Now that the latex is dry and I have applied it in a sufficiently thick layer, I am taking the Nye Castor Sealer and applying that over the latex. Now I'm using this to not only seal the latex but also create sort of a barrier so that I can apply cream makeup / other makeup on top of the latex. If I didn't use this, then any makeup that was applied to the latex would not stick. And once you're done, gently pat it with a tissue to set it and kind of soak up the excess. If it dripped anywhere else, just sort of wipe it up, and then once you have sufficiently pat it, you are going to seal it with translucent setting powder. I am using my favorite NYX HD Studio Finishing Powder and a fluffy brush. Again, because it is super greasy, be warned that your brush may get a little disgusting, so wash it after you're done. Now, because the liquid latex that I used is darker than my skin tone and not pure white, I am going to be taking this Glamoflague concealer that is a few shades too pale for me and putting it over the latex areas. Now, doing this will obviously lighten the latex and make it easier for my foundation to blend when I do that next. taking my usual foundation and applying that with a damp beauty blender all over my face, as well as covering the areas that I just put concealer on to blend that out and help it look completely seamless. I am setting that once again with the NYX HD Studio finishing powder and a fluffy brush. And just to redefine my brows and fix any parts I accidentally covered in foundation, I am using the Makeup Forever Artist Shadow in black and an angled brush, and just going over them again to get redefinition. And to prep your eyes, you are going to use the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion and just apply that all over your lids and underneath your bottom lash line. Now to start the lovely bruised look for your eyes, you're going to be using two different shades from the Too Faced Natural Matte palette. The one I'm applying now is called Risque, and it is sort of a purpley based brown. And you are going to apply that all over your lid as well as underneath your lash line. One thing to remember here is you don't want it to look neat. You want it to look messy and smudged and like you haven't slept for a week. Or 5. Now to make your eyes look a little more sunken in, you're going to apply this shade Sexpresso to your crease as well as underneath your lash line and smudge / blend it in with the earlier shade. To emphasize the I haven't slept since last century look, you are going to take a dark purple shadow. Now this one is from a super old Rimmel palette that I don't really use too much anymore, so it will be perfectly sufficient for this. And you are just going to smudge that under your lower lash line. I'm just using my fingertip, but you can use a fluffy brush if you want to. And it will emphasize the bruised look on your eyes. And now for the fun part, actually ripping the Chelsea Smile. Now, you're going to see my extremely failed attempt at using a metal nail file, and then resenting to the fact that one should not simply use that when attempting a Chelsea Smile. So I ended up giving up with that endeavor quite quickly and grabbing a teeny tiny scissors and gently shimmying it under the corner that I had shimmied the nail file under, and just gently snipping, being careful to avoid my actual face, and snipping until I got till the end of it and there was a sufficient sort of well. Now then, to make my smile look irritated, I am taking this Makeup Forever Artist Shadow, and this is a lovely, lovely burgundy color, and a little floofy brush, and I am applying that mainly to the edges of the smile to sort of give it a irritated look, and also applying a teeny tiny bit actually in the wound itself to further emphasize the irritation. Now, to give the actual wound some depth and not make it look one-dimensional, I am taking this Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Vampira and applying that all into the smile to give it a little more dimension and emphasize the fact that this has been cut quite deep. And now for the fun part, fake blood. Now, keep in mind, this is gel food coloring. It will get everywhere. It will stain anything it lands on, including you, including carpets, including clothes. Please, please be careful. It's bad. Now, I started out just kind of trying to dab it on with the Q-tip to make my lips look irritated, and then I gave up on that and just started sort of squeezing it into the reservoir that I had built with the liquid latex to make my smile, and just kind of started squeezing it on like you would ketchup onto a hot dog. So yeah, there's that image for you. And just kind of let it drip where it may. Don't worry about being too neat and clean, because if this were to actually happen to you, blood would just kind of pour out of it and go in every direction anyway. So to make it realistic, just sort of let it drip where it may. And this is the finished look. I tried to do this as simply and easily as possible, so yeah, it's gonna be messy, but hey, that's the fun part. Anyhow, all the helpful links are in the description, and I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!